What is up everyone, Movie Wayne back again with another video. Today is going to be my top 10 video games of all time. Now I know this is a movie based channel, but I like to put the odd gaming video in here because it is probably my second biggest passion alongside movies there, or just behind movies should I say. And I got my first console when I was 5 years old, the good old Mega Drive there, with Sonic the Hedgehog, and it is my earliest memory of my whole life. And I have never ever looked back since playing that game. I own a PS5 now. I still, I have a Switch, I have an Xbox One and stuff. I try to keep up to date with all the consoles. I'll probably get a Series X at some point. I just love gaming. I have a nice gaming collection next to me here. And this is a video I've wanted to do for quite some time now, because when I'm not watching movies and stuff or making these videos, I'm usually gaming. So yeah. So I do have a few honourable mentions before I get into the top 10. Now let me just let you know that this is kind of a mixture of best games mixed with nostalgia. Now I know some of the games on this list aren't better than the ones below it, let's say, but you've got to have memories with gaming as well, I feel, and a lot of that does play in to some of these selections here. So if your favourite game is not on this list or anything, don't be offended, it's not the right list, it's just my list. So leave your top 10 gaming list down below and I'll reply to you all, I promise, like I always do. I would love to see what your top 10 games of all time are. But before we get into the 10, like I mentioned, do have a couple of honourable mentions, so let's just get into them. So getting on with the first honourable mention is a game that was in this list until just about 2 or 3 years ago when I first played this other game, which I'll get to when I get to the number 10 spot. But this was Resident Evil 4. So if I was doing a top 11, Resident Evil 4 would be 11. This is an unbelievable horror survival game. It turned the franchise on its head for the better because of the controls, the over-the-shoulder view and stuff like that. And at the time, I had to wait for the PlayStation 2 version because I didn't have a GameCube. And when I played it, even after hearing how good it was with all the Games Master scores, yes, I used to buy the Games Master magazine and stuff, they give it like a 97% out of 100. I was still blown away by it. I expected something great, but not as great as what I got. It was a brilliant horror survival game, and at the time was probably ahead of its time a little bit. Just an amazing game in the franchise, and probably my favourite, next to Resident Evil 2 there. Next up is another horror survival game, and to me this is probably the most underrated video game that I can think of, and that is The Evil Within 2. This is kind of like Resident Evil 4. I think the guy who made that game came over to this and took on the Evil Within project, and it does actually feel like Resident Evil a little bit there with the old over-the-shoulder stuff. And The Evil Within 1 is a really good game, arguably a scarier game, but The Evil Within 2, where it really wins for me, is the open world dynamic. I really think that worked, and if you haven't played these games and you like horror, I highly recommend them. They are amazing games. For me to give this an honourable mention, my top 10 video games of all time, should say enough that you should really give it a go if this is your type of genre. Next up we have Red Dead Redemption. Yes, the first one I'm talking about. Rockstar really did take Grand Theft Auto to the West here. It just worked every way. I absolutely adored this game. I loved the whole slow motion effect where you could slow down time and just aim your bullet there correctly. The whole story of John Marsden, impactful ending, great characters. The world was absolutely amazing to be in. It was just an incredible game. So Red Dead Redemption has to be in there. And next up we have The Elder Scrolls Skyrim. Now, I really went into The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, but I knew I was missing something. And when I got into Skyrim, it just totally turned for me. It absolutely worked in every way. I could still be playing this game today, I feel. When I first played it, back in, I can't remember, 2013 or something. I feel like I could still be playing this game now. And I still wouldn't have finished everything because it's that big. And it's the gift that keeps on giving. You're always leveling up your character, finding new places and stuff like that. So The Elder Scrolls Skyrim has to be in the honourable mention. It's only just missed out that one. So it's an unbelievable game. And last up for the honourable mentions is probably the most modern game here, and that is Super Mario Odyssey. I was blown away by this on the Switch. It was the first Switch game I got to play, and I thought this is actually quite an amazing console, especially with the graphics and stuff. I mean, it looked absolutely immaculate playing this on the big screen, and I knew it went up to the capabilities of the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, but to me it looked absolutely brilliant. And the gameplay and everything, where you can throw your hat at these enemies and actually become the enemy, the worlds, everything about it. I loved going back to the Mario 64 level as well, the Mushroom Kingdom. Is it the Mushroom Kingdom? Like the first level in Mario 64, nice little throwback there. Just a yeah, really enjoyable game, and I remember playing that going, this is recapturing the magic of what I used to feel like when I was a kid. So they're my honourable mentions, guys. Well, let's just get into it with number 10. Number 10 is going to be The Last of Us. Now, this is a game I played for the first time on the PlayStation 4, and this is in fact the game that knocked Resident Evil 4 out of that number 10 spot there. I knew this was going to be a good game, just going by the hype and all the reviews, but I was absolutely blown away here. I had never ever thought in a million years that this game would grip me like it did. It had characters that you cared about, lots of emotional attachment. The story was amazing from the minute start to the minute end, with that great opening we get there. And I remember actually like going to work and just thinking about this game all day. And I hadn't done that since I was in like my school days, where I just wanted to get home and play this game. It's all I could think about. The world is absolutely beautiful to look at, but so dense at the same time. Like it looks depressing and stuff, but the design and everything that's gone into it just makes it work beautifully. It looked amazing on PS4, by the way. I mean, it's a PS3 game, but you wouldn't know the difference at all what Sony have done with this remaster, the PlayStation 4. It's still one of the best PlayStation 4 games that I've actually seen to this day, and it's a PlayStation 3 game. Just an incredible game. It mixes gameplay with gameplay stealth with action. The characters you take on, they're not all these creatures that have turned. There's humans as well trying to survive. Like I said, just an unbelievable world that's been made here. The Last of Us 2 is a really great game, but this one gripped me. Kind of like not many other games have, in fact, and I had to put it in at number 10. Number 9 is going to be probably the greatest beat-em-up of all time, in my opinion, Street Fighter 2. I played this so much back in the day. Everyone knows this game. Where do I even start? I just loved going through each campaign with each different character, seeing the different endings and stuff. I actually fell in love with these characters. They're just ones that bring so much to you, even though they're just a pixelated picture on the screen. But they had so much character to them. And the sound of the stages, Ryu's music, you got Guile's music there, legendary soundtrack. But really, where it was at with this game was the co-op. I remember me and my uncle used to play this all the time. He would never ever let me win, even though he was like, 10 years older than me at the time, and I was like 8 years old. He just mastered this game, but I love it to death. I love learning all the special moves. It's just the one of them games you can pick up and play and just to have a lot of fun with. I mean, even now, if I put my SNES on now, the first game I'm going to play is Street Fighter 2. So, yeah, don't forget to check out the Street Fighter 2 animated movie as well, by the way. Amazing, underrated manga classic there. So, yeah, number 9 for me is Street Fighter 2. Number 8 is going to be Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Now, like I mentioned at the start of the video, Sonic was the first game I ever played. It's got me into gaming. It's why I'm a gamer today. But Sonic 2, when I think about it, is the one I played the most. I have every level and song for each stage memorized in the back of my head there. I've finished this game so many times. It had a more of a jagged edge graphic feel to Sonic 1, but it worked even better for me. I mean, it looked like a different type of game, but I really loved the art design into this, the stages. Just, who can forget the Casino Night Zone? I think I ran out of time so many times on this level trying to gamble all my coins and stuff. And then them 3 Robotniks would always come and take the coins off me and I'd try and get them back. Yeah, that was my first experience with gambling there, I'd say. But like I said, just a brilliant game. I like the way they brought Tails into it to expand the Sonic universe there. The ending tells a little bit more of what's going on. Some great boss fights. We had Metal Sonic introduced here. That was always memorable. You had to take him on with no rings, and then you go through and fight Robotnik in that big, you know, machine, what he's doing there with them arms and stuff. Great boss fights, legendary stages. To me, this is my favourite Sonic game. I hold it close to my heart, and I can just pick up and play it now, just like I could with Street Fighter 2. So number 8 is Sonic 2. Number 7 is going to be Twisted Metal 2 World Tour. Now, on this list, I've played so many hours of all these games, but this is the one that I've probably played the most of. This always went on in our house. If anyone wanted to put the PlayStation on, we'd just throw Twisted Metal 2 on there. My dad even played a lot of this game, and he's not really a gamer. I just loved everything about this game. The car combat felt so unique. You know, you press forward to go on this, which is weird because all the other buttons are the ones that are firing like missiles and stuff. And how can you... It was always good to get a homing missile because it just find each enemy every time. But the uniqueness of these characters as well, like Sweet Tooth in the ice cream truck, this killer clown, you got Mr. Grimm on the bike. You know, it was just great to seek out all these endings because this Calypso, who runs the Twisted Metal World Tour Championship, he would grant anyone who wins it a wish, but the wish would go down a dark route. So someone said, I wish we could fly when you win. And he goes, your wish is granted, and they jump off a building thinking they can fly, and they land and die. And then Calypso would say to the screen, I thought he meant tickets on holiday to it with a, you know, on an aeroplane. So yeah, it was just stuff like that, like kind of dealing with the devil. So it had a great story attached to it, but really some of the stages here were great too. Like you got the New York skyscrapers, be close, don't try not to get too close to the edge there, you're gonna fall off and die. You got the Eiffel Tower, you know, that stage in Paris and stuff, going around the Paris streets. Just a really, really great game, it really was. But like Street Fighter 2, it was mainly down to the couch co-op where this game was at. Like I said, every time someone came to our house and we put the PlayStation on, this would be on. And this went on for about 5 years in our house, this game. It really did, because everyone loved it. I used to play my friends on this all the time. Just an incredible experiences, so much nostalgia. Twisted Metal 2, what a game that is. One of the best on the PlayStation for me. I love it to death. So, number 7, Twisted Metal 2. Number 6 is going to be Time Splitters 2. Now, there are 2 games on this list that I was really, really good at. I'm not the best gamer in the world. I'm not the most skilled. But if there was anything I was good at, it was a game that's a little bit higher on this list, and Time Splitters 2. Just absolutely unbelievable first-person shooter game. It's one of them where it takes you to different time zones and you become a different character because you're in a different time setting and stuff like that. It had a great story attached. It really did. I loved these 10 levels that were set out here for you. I think you went back to Egypt in one of them, and one of them was like Russia, the first level. It was just great. But for me, again, this is a great moment for me because this is the first co-op game I ever finished with my friend Phil. I remember we sat there and done it in one day, and I'll never forget it. We had such a great time doing that. But there was also these challenge modes here. Now, the official PlayStation magazine, people used to send in their best times, and you had to record it to prove it, but you could send it into PlayStation magazine, and every month the PlayStation magazine would print these scores out. And one of these challenge levels was done in a world record of 57 seconds, or I think it was the record, whoever sent it in, on 57 seconds, and I thought, I'm gonna beat that. And I swear to God, I done it in like 21 seconds. I just didn't have the equipment to record this and send it in, but that's how good I was at this game. Yeah, I mean, I was really pleased with myself back then. I used to try and beat all the level scores that were in that magazine. The things you had to do before the internet. There was no YouTube or anything back then to look at. And yeah, I just had so much fun with this game. I played it constantly. The gunplay now, if you go back to it, I put my PlayStation in not long ago and I played Time Splitters 2, and it's really, really hard to get used to again, but once you crack that gameplay, it just feels great. So Time Splitters 2 is in at number 6. getting into the real good stuff now, guys. Number 5 is going to be Fallout 3. I was really excited for this game anyway. I just loved the way it looked and stuff. And I was absolutely blown away by this game. The world that is created here, this post-apocalyptic world of, I think it's Washington, D.C. Wow. I've never seen anything like it. I couldn't believe what I was playing. It just works so well with all the radiation points and stuff like that. The enemies you take on in this game, it's a mix of humans, monsters, robots, everything is there, all the weapons you can find. It really is a great game. So many quests that you can go on. It's kind of like Skyrim, where this game can just go on for such a long time. Now, Fallout 4 was really good, but Fallout 3 is the one that gave me all these memories of the first time playing this type of game. The VAT system for me just works so well with all the gameplay, where you can just pause the game a little bit there, kind of like Red Dead Redemption, and just aim where you want to put these bullets and stuff, and you can shoot people's limbs off to really slow them down, stuff like that. But yeah, I have so many great memories with this game. I played it for a full year non-stop. I'm not even joking, just this. And yeah, it's just simply one of the greatest games ever made. It really is. Great story to go with it and everything like that. Immaculate game. By the way, one of my greatest memories with Fallout 3 was, it was actually nothing to do with the story, but this is the type of game it is. I basically found this little village, and everyone kept coming up to me and going, "You okay, mister? You okay, mister?" And I was like, this is kind of weird. And then I went into someone's basement and seeing like a dead body there that had been cut up, and some of it like by a freezer and stuff. And I was like, what's going on here? I turned around and all the villagers were there ready to kill me, because they were, of course, cannibals. It's just stuff like that that makes Fallout 3 a game quite like no other. So number 5 is Fallout 3. Number 4 is going to be maybe a little bit of a surprise to some people here, but it is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3. When I said it's about time split, there's two games I'm good at. This is the other one. Yes, I am very confident in my ability when I play Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3. I was addicted to this game. I was absolutely addicted to it. And when I said I threw my PlayStation 2 on a few months ago there, the first game I put in was Tony Hawk 3. I absolutely just loved this game. And it's weird to see a skateboarding game so high on this list, especially for me, because I don't even skateboard. I'm not even a big fan of the sport or anything, but this just felt so good. It's one of the best gameplay I've ever felt in my hands on a joypad. It just felt magic. It was pure magic, this game. It really was. I absolutely loved ticking off all these challenges. So each level you get 2 minutes to do it in, and each of them has 10 different challenges there, and every time you tick one off, it feels like such an achievement. Great level design, especially the one in the airport. You go from one end of the airport to the other. It's just really great set, and I'm getting memories of this coming back now. And grinding on a rail never ever feels old, and you do it a hell of a lot in this game, but it always feels good in your hands when you're doing this with the little vibration control and stuff like that. Yeah, Tony Hawk's 3, man, unbelievable game. And when Tony Hawk's 1 and 2, the remaster came out, I went and bought that shit day one. And I hope they remaster Tony Hawk 3 and Tony Hawk 4, but if any, just Tony Hawk 3 will do me. That'll be a day one purchase for me. So number 4 is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3. Now, you can't have a top 10 video game list, can you, without a Grand Theft Auto game in there. Number 3 is going to be Grand Theft Auto Vice City. Now, I remember getting GTA 3 for Christmas with my PlayStation 2, and I just could not stop playing that damn thing. I was just blown away by this open world aspect. I'd never seen anything like it before, and I was on that game constantly. GTA 3 is brilliant. So, when we started getting rumblings of a new GTA, like I said, we didn't have the internet back then, or YouTube or anything like that. I picked up the PlayStation magazine one day, and this was about 6 months before release, and these images of Grand Theft Auto Vice City were in there, and I was just like, I could not believe what I was looking at. Simple things like adding motorbikes and having this sun-soaked city. It just looks so bright and colourful. I think you could change your clothes and stuff like that. I was just like, wow, he's in a Hawaiian shirt here and then he's got a suit on here. What? My anticipation hit the roof. I just could not wait for this game. And when I finally got it, it did not disappoint one iota. It was like that magical feeling you get when you play a brand new game and you know it's amazing. This is an absolute 10 out of 10 masterpiece for me. What I just love, like, the story is amazing. It's got so many comedic elements in there. Borrows a hell of a lot from Scarface, but I loved all those Easter eggs because I was a big fan of the Scarface movie at the time and stuff like that. Like I said, I was looking forward to the motorbikes. Just getting on one of them just felt great. The beachfront, everything. It was just such a great designed world. And it just felt absolutely massive. I know it's small in comparison now to like the likes of GTA 5 and stuff, but to me it was just like the biggest world ever. I just used to drive around half the time and look around me at how amazing it was. There was always great things to find that hidden around every corner. Rockstar did not leave anywhere unstoned. I love this game to death. To me, it's the best Grand Theft Auto, and I've heard the new one might be getting taken on Vice City again, so I would be all up for that. I really would. One of the best things about Vice City for me was the business building side of things, and we haven't really seen that in another GTA game since, which is kind of disappointing, really. But I loved it when you just buy something like the Printwork Factory, and that would give you 2 missions to do, and when you complete them missions, it generates even more money for you. And there was so many different businesses to buy. I think you could buy an adult and movie entertainment business and stuff like that. It just hold no bars, did it? It had 18 on the cover for a reason there as well. So yeah, Grand Theft Auto Vice City has got to be in this list, and it's very high at number 3. Number 2 is going to be Metal Gear Solid. Now, this is a game that I didn't really like the look of at the time. I just thought, it looks okay, I don't know, not my type of thing, but it's got rave reviews, and I used to rely heavily on reviews back then, because I used to like buy the PlayStation magazines, like I said, and stuff, and I thought, you know what, I'll give it a go. It absolutely blew me away, this. Hideo Kojima, honestly, I believe, changed the whole gaming landscape here. He'd done things in video games that had never been done before. And it just follows a story, a very realistic story at the start, and then it just goes into all weird types of corners and stuff. I mean, as you're going on, it just uncovers more weird scenarios. The Shadow Moses Island was a great location. These boss fights, honestly, Sniper Wolf, Liquid Snake, Revolver Ocelot, Ninja, Psycho Mantis, and when I said he pushed the boundaries, when you get up to the Psycho Mantis part here in this game, you put your pad on the floor and he will say, "Are you ready for this?" And the pad will start vibrating and stuff, and you're like, "Oh my god, what's going on here?" And then he'll hack into your memory card and stuff and delete the game, and you'll be, "Oh, your heart will stop," and then the save game will be back on there and stuff like that. It was a great game. Talking to characters on the little codec and stuff like that, and then Liquid Snake just revealing himself to be someone else you can't trust, and just the story and everything was just great. The gameplay, where you could sneak or you could just go full on action, stuff like that. It was just mixed gameplay really well. It felt great to play, and Solid Snake was actually born here. One of the greatest video game characters of all time. The voice work in this game is second to none, especially at the time. I also love the music. The music is great, especially when you get caught. It's dum 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 dum. Yeah, I love all that. It puts goosebumps on my arm. I used to get caught on purpose just so I could hear that. Yeah, Metal Gear Solid. A true masterpiece, and one I really want to play again. I really do. I'd love to play this again, so maybe I'll play a HD version or something soon. But yeah, Metal Gear Solid, number 2. Number 1 though is going to be Final Fantasy VII. Now this is not just my greatest game of all time, this is part of my life. It really is. I'm not even exaggerating when I say that. I'm not trying to sound like emotional or anything, but honestly, I think about this game every single day of my life. I'm not even joking. I just think about it, and then I start just remembering all these memories. I have so much nostalgia. I could pick up and play this right now. I love it to death. I really, really do. Just the biggest game I ever played at the time. Yeah, I remember playing this game and just discovering all these new towns and stuff as you get further and further on after you come out of Midgar, and I couldn't keep up with how much this was throwing at me. It was just like, wow, I'm in Costa del Sol here, now I'm in this Gran Cosmo Canyon place, and it was just gaming magic, pure gaming magic. The best feeling I ever got from video games was with Final Fantasy VII. I remember I got it on the day and it was like circle to attack and X didn't do anything, and it really put me off the game. I didn't go back to it for about 6 months. And then my friend told me about how good it was and how much he loved it. I went, oh, I'll give it another go then. And wow. I fell in love. I fell in love with this game. I fell in love with the characters. The story is probably the greatest story ever told in a video game for me personally. I just absolutely love it. You think these Shinra bosses are so terrible enough, and then next minute this guy called Sephiroth's involved, and they're nothing compared to this guy. You know, you got great characters like Cloud, Barret, Tifa. You cared about these characters. So many emotional moments in this game. Like, who remembers the end of disc 1 there? Try not to spoil anything. The soundtrack to this game is the greatest soundtrack ever in my opinion. I listen to it constantly, all the time. If I'm doing a bit of housework or, you know, just maybe cooking the tea or something, Final Fantasy VII soundtrack, bang, there you go. And it just brings back all these memories to me. It really does. I love this game with all my heart. I really do. It's a 10 out of 10. Absolute masterpiece. Greatest game of all time, in my opinion. If you haven't played Final Fantasy VII, I highly suggest you give it a go. You can get it on Switch, PlayStation 4 now, everything, PlayStation 5, I think if you can port it over. I highly suggest you give it a go. The turn-based battle system as well is so good to play, it really is. And when you defeat bosses and enemies and stuff, it's just great. The materia system as well, by the way, you can summon these big gods and monsters to come and help you. It's just great watching it all the time, it really is. I love Final Fantasy VII. Now the remake, I just want to touch on this because it brought that magic back to me. It really did. I remember we were all, you know, in lockdown there, and I was off work for 5 weeks, and it couldn't have been timed better for me personally, because I got Final Fantasy VII a few days after I was sent home from work. And then 5 weeks, I just played that remake, and it really did bring everything back to me. It felt so good. So when these 3 parts are done, I'll have to think about it, what was better for me. But at the moment, it's Final Fantasy VII on the PlayStation 1. I didn't want to put the remake in this list just yet because it's not finished. But yeah, that's the closest I've ever felt to playing the magic of Final Fantasy VII, the original. So number 1 is Final Fantasy VII. Okay guys, I hope you all enjoyed this top 10 video games list. Like I said, it's not the right list, it's just my list. But let me know what you think of these games. I would love to hear your thoughts because all 10 of these games are close to me, close to my heart there. So yeah, leave your top 10s down below if you want and I'll reply to you all. I promise I would love to hear your thoughts. Thank you so much guys, I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you want more top 10s, they will be down below, and please consider subscribing to the channel. Got a lot more top 10s planned, more gaming videos, but lots and lots of other movie videos as well. Take it all easy guys, I'll see you all in the next video.